What's up, guys? Welcome to the Outer Nexus. Tonight, we will be going over a new term that has been popping up recently, jobless growth. But first, the Demon Lord himself has returned to his throne of skulls down below.
Yeah.
The war criminal Dick Cheney. It's interesting because he was born a month before Pearl Harbor, and he just gets out right before the collapse. Like, he's right there at the beginning of the burgeoning of the military-industrial complex, and he's out right before the collapse.
He fed off of
Oh
the
man,
whole thing.
he fed off the he picked a phenomenal timeline for a demon to claw his way into our reality. And I'm sure he's there with Satan at his right hand. You know what'd be funny is if South Park, like the new episode of South Park,
Right.
you know, because they're doing Satan and Trump now, like Satan goes into a back room and there's Dick Cheney, and he's like, Dick, what are you doing back?
Right.
And he's like, our job isn't finished, Satan. And he's like, he's Satan's superior.
Yeah. or it's one of those cheating type things where he's cheating on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. He's cheating on Trump with Dick Cheney.
My ex came back.
My ex came That would be fucking hilarious. But yeah, let's get into this collapse. Let me just pull this up here because this went around on Twitter a little bit, and this is pretty shocking. It's got 21 million views. So these are the cascading of tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of job losses because of this upcoming AI bubble. You have UPS 48,000 employees, Amazon up to 30,000. In fact, Amazon right after this announced that they were going to do like 200 or 600,000 job cut reductions across their entire company. I forget it was insane. It was like half their company was going to be cut.
Yeah.
And like this is really wild.
I mean, just right in those top three.
Yeah,
That's 100,000.
that's 100,000 right there, just up in the top three. And we have let me get into this article. We have a Goldman Sachs executive coming out with this popper right here. Goldman economists on Gen Z hiring nightmare. Jobless growth is probably the new normal. Okay. The challenging U.S. labor market is entering a new normal, according to Goldman Sachs economist David Merkel and Pierre Francesco May, who tackled the phenomenon of jobless growth in an October 13th note. It resonates with what the Federal Reserve Chair Jeremy Powell memorably described in September as a low hire, low fire labor market in which, for some reason, kids coming out of college and younger people, minorities, are having a hard time finding jobs for some reason. Some analysts blame the downturn in entry-level hiring on the impact of AI on the economy. Others on macroeconomic uncertainty, especially the seesawing tariffs regime from the Trump administration. The takeaway is clear, though, that getting hired is really hard in the mid-2020s. The modest job growth alongside robust GDP growth seen recently is likely to be normal to some degree in the years ahead, May and Merkel wrote, adding that they expect the great majority of growth to come from solid productivity growth boosted by advances in artificial intelligence, with only a modest contribution from labor supply growth due to population aging and lower immigration. The key question is whether the trend of jobless growth will continue, with an era of job hugging likely to persist. In an ominous note, the economists cite the track record of how big labor shifts tend to play out. History also suggests that the full consequences of AI for the labor market might not become apparent until a recession hits. productivity and outpacing job creation. America's economy continues to expand with real GDP growth projected to remain steady and respectable, even as monthly payroll growth lags well behind historical recovery averages. The Goldman Sachs researchers say most of the nation's output gains will come from productivity improvements, largely powered by rapid AI adoption, while demographic trends like population aging and lower immigration hold down labor supply growth. The result, hiring activity outside healthcare has turned negative on net in recent months, while management teams in many sectors are focused on using AI to streamline operations and cut labor costs. We'll get into that in a bit. This shift is clear in data collated by the investment bank. Payroll growth by industry shows almost all sectors outside healthcare posting weak, zero, or even negative net job creation despite otherwise solid macroeconomic indicators. Meanwhile, the share of executives who mention both AI and employment in the same context on earnings calls has reached historic highs. Goldman finds that the labor market to be somewhat weaker than just before the pandemic, with job growth turning net negative in recent months outside of healthcare and company management teams increasingly. All right, let's see. So this chart... Yeah, there we go. The Goldman report also examines the risks and broader implications. History suggests that the full consequences of AI for the labor market may not appear until the next recession hits, citing a leading explanation that companies use recessions to restructure and streamline their workforce by laying off workers in less productive areas. This is especially true when recessions follow productivity booms. When overhiring may have occurred, they argue, several top CEOs and economists have argued that this hiring binge known as the Great Resignation resulted in many overpaid workers with inflated job titles who have stopped churning out as the labor market slowed. Goldman cites the jobless recovery of 2001 after the dot-com bubble burst. During that recovery, despite a soft labor market, productivity growth remained elevated and GDP growth rebounded earlier than employment growth. Economists Alex Bryson and David Blanchflower previously told Fortune that their research on labor markets and young worker despair suggests that jobless recoveries could be the culprit, although they acknowledge that the wages and unemployment picture is much more positive in some sense than the low fire labor market that may be an acceleration of a condition familiar throughout the 21st century so far. Improving productivity that doesn't feel all that great to workers on very lean teams. As jobless growth becomes entrenched, Goldman Sachs expects policymakers to face tough new choices. Central banks could be forced to keep interest rates lower in response to subpar job creation and modestly higher unemployment, while markets may see mixed effects. Asset prices could be supported by healthy output and low rates, but only if unemployment remains contained and new kinds of jobs emerge to offset losses caused by AI. For now, Merkel's low fire diagnosis serves as both a warning and guide. Jobless growth may not mean mass layoffs, but it does mean fewer opportunities for job seekers and slower rebounds from economic shocks in the years to come. Okay, so what is your opinion on that before we go to the next article?
So for this, one of the big things that they're not talking about too is that, like, because they're not going to make it happen.
Yeah,
their jobs. I mean, people in upper management, CEO, and the C-suite, they're the easiest ones.
Yeah,
for an AI to take over.
Yes.
In fact, it's harder to take over sometimes like a peon's job because it's like you have to get all of the things that they're going to do right. Whereas a lot of the times what, someone at the top does is a type of speculation.
Yeah.
And AI is great at speculation.
Yeah.
So it's
I think we're actually we're on a train headed for that wall, and we're not on that train, but they are.
Yeah.
They're on this train headed for this wall of realization, and it's as soon as one major company's shareholders figure out that, hey, we could replace the CEO with an AI and that would actually be exponentially better, then that is going to become the new business strategy, and it's going to have a cascading effect on all of these major companies.
Yeah.
And the people in charge of them right now desperately do not want that to happen.
No, they don't. They're kind of, most of these people are thinking that they're immune.
Yeah.
To the effects of this. I doubt that they are. And then the other thing too that this article doesn't hit on is Goldman Sachs people. I don't know if you've ever met one.
No.
They're very serious.
Yeah.
They are not paid to be wrong or to speculate improperly.
Right.
So when they say we may not know the full effects of this on the jobless market, no, that's their job is to know the full effects.
Yeah.
Before it happens.
Yeah.
And they very much know that this is going to hit very hard.
Yeah.
So like when this comes around, the jobless numbers are going to be like from that chart that we had, they're going to hit hard there.
Yeah.
And then they're just going to hit harder later.
Yeah.
So these numbers are just the beginning. And when something's replaced, it's gone.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like it's someone took your job. The job no longer exists for you or a human.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things we brought up was, there's a company out there, people probably heard of it, Flagger Force.
Yeah.
And Flagger Force, it's people sitting on the road making sure like if there's an accident or something like that, go around it, construction. And they have recently implemented a robot that has an arm and like a stoplight.
Yeah.
And it talks to another robot that has an arm and a stoplight.
Yeah.
And so when one goes up, the other comes down. And that job is now just gone
now. Yeah.
There is never going to be a human that needs to do that job anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as production keeps up, and it should, that job is just gone.
Yeah. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
If production keeps up. Well, let's get into this article because this is kind of complementary to the other one. Godfather of AI says tech giants can't profit from their astronomical investments unless human labor is replaced. Billy, think of the capital. Won't you think of the capital, Billy?
Yeah.
Computer scientist and Nobel laureate Geoffrey Hinton doubled down on his warnings about how artificial intelligence will affect the labor market and the role of companies leading the charge. In an interview with Bloomberg's Wall Street Week on Friday, he said the obvious way to make money off of AI investments, aside from charging fees to use chatbots, is to replace workers with something cheaper. Hinton, whose work has earned him a Nobel Prize and the moniker Godfather of AI, added that while some economists point out previous disruptive technologies created as well as destroyed jobs, it's not clear to him that AI will do the same. I think the big companies are betting on it causing massive job replacement by AI because that's where the big money is going to be. Just four so-called AI hyperscalers, Microsoft, Meta, Alphabet, and Amazon, are expected to boost capital expenditures to $420 billion next fiscal year from $360 billion this year, according to Bloomberg. Meanwhile, OpenAI alone has announced a total of $1 trillion in infrastructure deals in recent weeks with AI ecosystem companies like NVIDIA, Broadcom, and Oracle. When asked if such investments can pay off without destroying jobs, Hinton replied, I believe that it can't. I believe that to make money, you're going to have to replace human labor. The remarks echo what he said in September when he told the Financial Times that AI will create massive unemployment and a huge rise in profits. In fact, evidence is mounting that AI is shrinking opportunities, especially at the entry level, with an analysis of job openings since OpenAI launched ChatGPT shows that they plummeted roughly 30%. And this past week, Amazon announced 14,000 layoffs, largely in middle management, while CEO Andy Jassy said the decision was the result of culture and not AI. Okay. A memo he sent in June predicted a smaller corporate workforce as we get efficiency gains from using AI extensively across the company. Despite the potential downside for workers, Hinton also sees benefits from AI. When asked if he would go back in time and stop AI from developing, he paused and he said he doesn't know. It's not like nuclear weapons, which are only good for bad things. It's a difficult decision because it can do tremendous good in healthcare and education. It'll do tremendous good. In fact, In fact, if you think about it, increasing productivity in many, many industries, that should be good. That should just be good. That's like Warren Buffett saying, number go up. It should be good. You know, the problem ultimately is not owing to AI itself, but on how we organize society. That just kind of reminds me of, hold on, let's see. Let me see if I can pull this up.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in this.
Should the human race survive?
Yes.
Okay. You would prefer the human race to endure, right?
That was a hard question.
These people are not thinking about you at all. What they are entirely, and this is why I genuinely feel like, because of the government shutdown, the SNAP benefits, these motherfuckers moving on to military bases to be safe, I think we're going to witness a massive economic meltdown. And they are going to try to use AI to smooth over all this. But the reason we're going to witness this meltdown is because I think this is pretty much the end of this infinite growth system that this has all been based around. It's got it, like, the bubble's going to pop. Like, here's the thing. Other countries, like China, doesn't worry about the infinite growth concept. That's the thing. You know, like,
they kind of do.
It's
just built into their whole society.
Sort of.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to like say, oh, China's better. They have a ton of their own fucking problems.
Yeah.
But our problem right now is that we try to seek out psychos who are, you know, sycophants for the concept of infinite growth to be middle management and CEOs of these companies.
Yes.
The problem is it's not going to work anymore because, in my opinion, we are about to hit the everything bubble. So I think that's right around the corner.
So here's the thing: as long as they can stabilize certain markets, they'll live. And I'm not going to go into that right now.
Okay. I mean, this is an extreme hypothetical then. If they can stabilize, this is all based around if the market can stabilize again, which my premise is this market is completely fucked. Like, it is not going to stabilize. Shit is going to collapse now. So the premise is if this market can stabilize, then...
Yeah, so then to some degree here, like he was saying, the money is going to go to these corporations.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to get like already you can see the difference between, you know, a company that was rich, you know, now and, you know, 20 years ago. You know, that we have $1 trillion companies now.
Yeah, but it's a lot of funny money. Like, a lot of funny money.
And don't get me wrong.
An incredible amount of funny money. $25 trillion worth of funny money since 2008.
So, but what I'm getting at with this, though, is once you replace your human workforce with, you know, AI, then it's almost pure profit for you.
Right, but, like, if you suck up all the profit and the real humans are cut out, then it's like, okay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like the sound of that. I am definitely in group 2.
Yeah.
You know, on that one. You know, so what I'm kind of getting at, though, is it's going
like
to
they're printing money, though. That the problem is the problem is the valuation is not there. The money, the printing of the funny money is there. They can print as much funny money as they want, and we're going to get into that whole circle jerk very shortly.
And I know we're going to get into that, but also, you know, we're getting into the point because, you know, one of the things I think we're going to talk about, I think he hits it at the beginning of his video, is the national debt.
Yeah.
So if we're in an incredible amount of debt right now,
and it's only going to rise exponentially from here.
Yeah. In fact, it's rising so fast that you pretty much can't pay it off.
Yeah.
Because you're just never going to get to the principal.
And not only that, but I think Elon Musk brought this up, but after this year, our income taxes are going to get so incredibly high that it's going to become unlivable. Like, this is a bubble that is going to happen, whether anybody likes it or not.
So what I'm kind of getting at with these AI corporations is all of a sudden, you have one of the world's most powerful governments kind of on its way down to some degree. And they're now worth more than, and it doesn't have to be technically worth, like, backed by gold. It just has to show on paper.
And that's the whole problem here.
And so when they come in and they're like, oh, what happens if we were a government agency? Or, we never get taxed anymore. Or, they ask for things that, businesses shouldn't have. I think they're going to start getting those things.
And I think you're right. I think OpenAI is trying to integrate itself into the government to do what you're talking about. The problem with all of that is that America is extremely constrained by multiple war fronts now. We have Ukraine, we have aspects of the thing that happened in Gaza. Now we're going to start a land invasion of Venezuela, and now they're saying Mexico, and then there's the South China Sea. So, I mean, we are kind of well into the beginning of World War III territory here in the overextension of our economy. We have an administration that is overtly extremely corrupt now. Who still cares about Epstein, right? And that has impacted tangibly the confidence in our government with this new Democratic wave that just happened. I don't know if you saw that, but Democrats won across the board for every election that happened yesterday. And so we're experiencing an extreme loss of confidence in the ability for, in my opinion, for this government to operate correctly. And what we're going to see is, foreign countries pull out their investments from America. And we're already kind of seeing that. We're already seeing, alternate currencies being floated, BRICS. Maybe that's not going to be the greatest thing, you know what I mean? But
they're trying.
They're trying. They're trying. But all it takes is for a bubble like this to pop, and by all indications, we are lining up the barrel to pop this thing. Like, that's what it looks like, especially with in my opinion, I think the market crashed during COVID, and the Biden administration and the Trump administration have been trying to kick the can down the road for this period of time to try to sort of cover it up. And now with the government shutdown and them shutting down SNAP benefits and moving their leaders onto military bases, I think they are preparing for this economy to crash before the end of the year. That's my speculation. I don't know how true that is, but from every sign that I'm looking at, it looks like they are preparing for this economy to crash before the end of the year. And let's get into what Ian Carroll pulled up from Hank Green's video. He does a pretty concise explanation of it, so there's going to be like a video inside a video inside a video. But he goes over the fact that these AI companies are way overvalued because it's actually just one giant circle jerk of numbers of funny money that they're bouncing in between each other on paper to make it seem like it's like everything is hunky-dory.
And one of the things that's going on here, and you'll see it in the little chart that he has, is the money, unlike other bubbles that have happened, like the .com bubble or the housing bubble, both of those bubbles had tangible things in them worth money. Like things like still the economy was still in the bubble. Like, so money was coming in and out of that bubble. Though not as much as you would hope. That's what caused the bubble in the first place. However, this bubble doesn't have any of that. This bubble is completely encased, and the money just goes from one company to another company to another company, and it never hits like our economy. It just stays within those companies.
It's like a cartel almost. And it's propping up the stock market.
So
let's get into this, and then we'll get into why Michael Burry put in $1 billion short of Palantir, which is one of the biggest shorts, not ever, but it's in a long time. It was a bold bet that Palantir is going to be cut drastically. But let's get into this.
On our hands here. How NVIDIA and OpenAI fuel the AI money machine. So very quickly, to explain, NVIDIA makes the chips that do the compute that creates the artificial intelligence systems.
So just to clarify here, this chart is going mega viral in the financial communities and in the science and tech communities because it was published in a Bloomberg report recently. And Bloomberg did this whole deep dive that's hidden behind a fucking massive paywall, get wrecked peasants, that breaks down the circular deals happening in the AI industry. And Hank is about to explain what the chart shows and what circular deals are.
OpenAI is the biggest company that creates the system.
What do you mean Dave Smith just went ham on X? What's Dave Smith doing on X? Oh, I'll pull it up in the background here real quick. We'll check it out.
That use those chips to create artificial intelligence systems that do stuff, not just the chatbot, but also all the other things that it does, including, Sora 2, which you've heard my opinion on. And then there's Microsoft, you've heard of them. AMD is another chip maker like NVIDIA, Oracle, and a few others in here like CoreWeave, possibly some others. I actually don't know what all these companies are. I think Nscale might be one as well, but it's the little dot. Oracle and CoreWeave, at least, are the companies that have built like the data centers, and they buy chips.
Okay, before we get too deep into Hank, we will pull up Dave. And character attacks. It's the state of the world today. So, where were we? AI tech bubble, ready to destroy America, and maybe the whole global economy.
From NVIDIA, and then they lease out the compute. They sell that. So basically, Intel and AMD and NVIDIA sell chips to the AI companies or to the data center companies, and then the data center companies sell the compute to the AI companies. Sometimes the middleman running the data center is there, sometimes it's not there. But in either case, NVIDIA is doing very well because so many people want their chips right now. But we can think of it as AI companies, chip companies, and then the middlemen compute companies. What the AI...
Okay? AI companies, chip companies, middleman compute companies. And if you haven't watched videos about how these chips are made, it's fucking aliens, dude. I swear it's aliens. There's no way humans are making these chips. The technology that's building these chips is unbelievable. I don't believe it for a damn second. Where did this come from, and why can only one person do it in somewhere in Taiwan? Yeah, right, dog. Get wrecked, dog. What is this whole thing? This whole bubble built on this one little teeny piece of technology that only one little group over in Taiwan can build? Pfft. I don't know, dog. I mean, yeah, it sounds like reptiles to me. Let's be real. Them some alien tech right there. But anyways, we're not going to get distracted by aliens making chips.
AI companies want is to be able to keep existing. Right now, OpenAI, worth $500 billion, has $12 billion of revenue. That's not profit. That's the amount of money they made total. Their profit is deeply in the negative. And NVIDIA has extremely high profit. They make...
Did you hear that? OpenAI's profit deeply in the negative. But they got a lot of money coming in. They're just spending a lot more than that, right?
Way more money than they spend because people really want their chips right now until they'll pay way extra for them, and they're the best chips. They're the best chips. Crunch, 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 crunch. There's a huge amount of demand for those chips. The prices are way up. It's very good for NVIDIA. That's why they are the largest company in the world and are one company that is worth more than the entire pharmaceutical industry combined. But even then,
more than the entire pharmaceutical company industry combined. Just NVIDIA. More than the entire pharmaceutical company combined.
With their absolutely bonkers margin that they have right now, their price to earnings ratio is extremely high. So the value of all NVIDIA stock combined is much higher than you would see with a normal company, which indicates the belief among investors that the prices of those chips will keep going up and the number of chips produced will keep going up. So NVIDIA desperately wants to keep the prices of their chips the same or higher. They want the demand to increase faster than supply, but they also want to increase supply dramatically so that they can sell more things. So more sales and more profit equals more earnings. People who are sort of on the AI isn't a bubble train right now, what they're saying is, well, if it's a bubble, why are the prices of NVIDIA chips continuing to increase? There's a huge amount of demand there. People are buying them. That can't be entirely irrational. So keep that in mind. The demand for NVIDIA chips far outstrips the supply of NVIDIA chips. And the idea is that will continue to be the case even as supply increases. $500 billion, according to a recent fundraise, and OpenAI has $12 billion of revenue. It has no profit, and it is by far the largest AI company. And with this $12 billion of revenue, they are spending hundreds of billions of dollars on these chips. And OpenAI, I don't say that like they couldn't do more than they're doing right now, but they're not like brand new. They've been selling their services for a while. Now, could they increase the price of their services? Yes. Do they seem to think that that would be the thing that does it for them? No. Like they're creating feeds inside of their systems. Now they've got a feed inside of ChatGPT where like when you open it, it's like, hey, just like read some stuff. Just read some stuff that I prepared for you. Instead of asking me questions, here's stuff that we think, based on what you've talked to me about before, you might be interested in. And the play there is obvious to me, which is they've said that they don't want side of the stuff that it just provides, maybe thinks. And thus, you have the other side of the argument. The people who say that this is probably a bubble, they're saying, okay, well, there's demand for OpenAI's services. People use them. They're using them more and more as time goes on. But you can't say that at the moment the demand is outstripping the supply. There's plenty of supply to meet the demand. And right now, OpenAI, according, I think, to them, they lose money every single time you use one of their products. Like the amount.
You hear that? OpenAI is losing mad money every time you use it. Use that up. Use it up. Because AI companies ain't making any money. Okay? So thank you, dear Hank, for helping us to understand this bubble. If you guys want to look it up on YouTube, there's a lot of great content in the financial spaces about the AI bubble. And it all centers around... Where's my... Did I not bring the chart in here? I thought I brought the chart in here. Maybe it's further down. This chart right here. All these different arrows are investments going in and out of the same companies, right? And so you have NVIDIA announcing deals with Oracle, and Oracle announcing deals with OpenAI, and OpenAI announcing deals with NVIDIA, right? You have X announcing deals with NVIDIA, and NVIDIA announcing deals with X. You have Microsoft announcing deals with OpenAI, announcing deals with NVIDIA, announcing deals with Microsoft, right? And all that money is flowing into yours, and then into yours, and then back into mine, and then back into yours, and back into yours, and back into mine. And every time it does that, it looks like you just made $30 billion, $10 billion, a quadrillion trillion dollars. But actually, it's all just funny money. It's all just made up paper, just made up passing hands back and forth. And this is an old strategy. This happened in the dot-com bubble. It's happened in all sorts of other industries. People say it's happening in the car industry. But there's a key difference in the AI industry, because the AI industry isn't making any money from anyone, mostly. It's mostly just built on promises, right? And it's chip makers and cloud providers and AI companies all just circling the wagons, circling the money wagon, back and forth, back and forth. Here's all these Bloomberg articles hidden behind paywalls, but the headlines say what you need to know. NVIDIA and OpenAI make a $100 billion deal to build data centers. Huge numbers, right? Politicians get bought off for little millions, little thousands, right?
I think we could call that video there. I think he did a decent breakdown of that. And just to, I'm just gonna throw this in here unless you have something to add.
No.
So the Palantir CEO Alex Karp went on CNBC to go on a huge rant against Michael Burry, who is the famous stock investor who predicted the 2008 financial crash. He was portrayed by Christian Bale in the movie The Big Short. I highly recommend anybody who needs to understand the state of the world today watch The Big Short, because it will explain exactly what happened and the kerfuffle that we're in right now. And you might as well go ahead and watch Vice too, where Christian Bale portrays Dick Cheney, because that kind of explains how we got into all the wars that we're in now too. But anyway, so Palantir CEO Alex Karp ranted against short sellers, calling out specifically Michael Burry after a filing revealed the investor of The Big Short fame had bet against the artificial intelligence software company as well as NVIDIA at the end of last quarter. The two companies he's shorting are the ones making all the money, which is super weird. Karp told CNBC on Tuesday, the idea that chips and ontology is what you want to short is batshit crazy. He's actually putting a short on AI. It was us and NVIDIA. When reached via email by CNBC seeking comment on Karp's remarks, Burry declined to comment. Palantir shares slid 8% on Tuesday, even after the software company beat Wall Street estimates for the third quarter and offered upbeat guidance. Investors have grown increasingly wary of lofty valuations in AI-linked names. Palantir stock, which was up 173% for the year, heading into Tuesday's trading, has a forward price earnings ratio of 2 to 8. NVIDIA fell 4% after gaining over 50% this year. I do think this behavior is egregious, and I'm going to be dancing around when he's proven wrong, said Karp of short sellers. Burry's hedge fund Scion Asset Management disclosed put options with a notional value of about $187 million against NVIDIA and $912 million against Palantir as of September 30th in a filing. The filing didn't specify the strike prices or expiration dates of the contracts. It's unclear whether Burry is profiting from Tuesday's declines. The filing reflects his positions at the end of September, and he may have since adjusted his portfolio by now. Burry declined to comment on his positions. It's not even clear he's shorting us. It's probably just how do I get my position out and not look like a fool, Karp said. The disclosure comes after Burry hinted at renewed caution in markets in a cryptic X post last week. Sometimes we see bubbles. Sometimes there's something to do about it. Sometimes the only winning move is not to play, he wrote to his 1.3 million followers on the platform. Burry gained fame for his prescient bet against mortgage-backed securities before the 2008 financial crisis, a trade chronicled in Michael Lewis's book, The Big Short, an Oscar-winning film. With the shorts is very complex. Honestly, I think what's going on here is market manipulation. We delivered the best results anyone's ever seen. It's not even clear he's not doing this to get out of his position. I mean, these people, they claim to be ethical, but they're actually shorting one of the great businesses of the world. They claim to be ethical. This is the guy, Alex Karp is the guy. Hold on, let me see if I could pull up this video of this guy. This dude is actually batshit insane.
There are really two ways America can be strong vis-a-vis our adversaries. One is put the fear of like death into our adversaries at any random moment, which I think is happening for the first time in a long time. And two, get the economy to be super strong. And if you look, like I spent half my life in Europe, look at the difference between what's going on in Europe and what's going on here. Europe is like culturally similar, should have similar ability to produce technology, to produce builders, to produce innovation, and like the delta between what's happening in America and similarly situated societies is just enormous and compounding. And obviously, I would like our allies to do better, but for now we just have to focus on America, and Palantir's thriving.
What about the?
So basically, and the clip we showed of Peter Thiel before, hesitating on whether humanity will be useful in the future, along with the CEO, Alex Karp, basically saying we need to put the fear of death into our enemies to keep them in line. Like, I don't know. I don't think Palantir's an ethical company, especially since they are 100% going to try to integrate Palantir. Palantir considers themselves to be a private intelligence agency.
Yes.
They want to integrate themselves into the government and implement all their AI systems to watch everyone and everyone's every move.
And I do think, isn't Palantir, weren't they integrated into the Golden
Dome thing? Yeah, the Golden Dome thing.
Which means their security,
integrated.
They're integrated. Their security apparatus
integrated
right now is so...
Cops are using their systems right now.
Yeah. So, yes, they're totally integrated. They're in.
Yeah.
However, I will say for, the shorting of them.
Yeah.
It's funny to see him, freak out so much because, one, it could be true that, Palantir could be shorted.
I just want to add before you go on, that's the first time Alex Karp has ever complained like that about anything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And really the reason that he's angry is just because if someone like that tells you, tells everybody, the world basically, like, oh, this company's going down.
Yeah.
you lose price right
Yeah.
off the bat.
Exactly.
So that's why he's angry.
Yeah, but I do think Michael Burry is correct. I think these AI companies are massively overvalued, and the problem all comes down onto one thing, really, in my mind. And this is not exactly what happened in the dot-com boom, but something very similar happened. It happened with Google, okay, and Facebook. Eventually, and OpenAI wants to be this so bad. OpenAI wants to be it so bad. Eventually, one of these companies is going to design an AI model, and this is what they want. This is what they want ChatGPT 6, I believe, to be a locally running, low-power LLM that could run on anything.
Yeah.
And once that happens, once they figure that out, because apparently it's rumored that they do have models like this, and maybe even China might have some models like this. Once they develop that, all of these companies don't need to exist anymore. It could just be that one company. Yeah. And there wouldn't be a point for all the other companies to exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like Google. There wasn't really a point to go to Alta Vista or Netscape anymore. You just go to Google. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think when that moment happens, and I actually think all of these massive data centers and stuff like this, don't get me wrong, I do think that they'll be kind of useful, but I think it's way overkill, way infrastructure overkill once they design one of these kind of models that could run locally on anything. You know?
Yeah. However, I do think what they're trying to do is a little more broad than just that. I think.
I mean, obviously, but
yeah.
I'm saying once one of those types of models comes out,
yeah.
then the AI market value is just going to be cut in half.
Yeah.
All these companies, like one company will rise up like Google,
yeah.
and all the other ones will.
Well, I think some of the LLM markets will die.
Yes,
for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think what they're also planning for is like, and I hate to say it, the robots, all that kind of stuff, because that's what you actually need those data centers for.
Yeah, let me show you this now. Either this is real or this is a chick in a suit, and I don't think it's a chick in a suit.
This is XHome Eugene Iron.
All right, so that is a like 100% humanoid looking robot moving properly.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
There's that $20,000 robot that just came out.
Yes, there's that one also.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that this one is going to be similar
probably
in design. Now, one of the things that was not advertised, and obviously for good reason not advertised, about this robot is that it is actually super low functioning.
Okay.
Like all the things that you saw it do.
That stupid soft body one.
No,
like for old people.
No, like it was hard. Like it had hard body parts,
but it had like it was like wearing a sweater.
In a way,
yeah,
like it's
for like helping old people, and they were showing it helping, like that's what it was marketed for.
Yeah,
but it only has like 4 minutes operating time, and it can barely do anything.
Yeah, well, no, I think it had longer operating time, but anyway, super low functioning.
Yeah,
and stuff like this, I believe it's actually probably in the same category. They're probably super low functioning. They can't really do all of the tasks that they're presented. And what they're actually doing behind the scenes is you can tap into them and
teleoperate.
And a person at that company actually teleoperate. So if you're like, go do the dishes.
Yes.
It's not the robot doing it. Someone is actually going into the suit and then doing your dishes in a robot.
The one in the sweater, it is that.
Yeah.
If they do need to do any more complex tasks, they get some Indian guy to teleoperate it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about teleoperation. everybody's like, oh, that's teleoperated. That's that's a gotcha. Number one, I think teleoperation is an incredibly impressive feature. I think I think it's invasive and people shouldn't be doing that. We're going to jack into your fucking robot and just do that.
Right.
But I would love to get a humanoid robot that I could teleoperate and do stuff.
And in fact,
that would be amazing.
Well, even in that low grade one, you can.
Yeah, okay. That's cool.
That is one of the things. If you have the VR headset, yes, you can teleoperate that
would
robot.
be so cool. I think that's a really cool. I don't think going in there without permission is cool. That's not cool. But
no, one of the things I don't like about it, and I like teleoperation as well, by the way, because it's a feature.
It is cool.
Is that they weren't marketing it that way.
Right. They were saying it could do these things. It can
do all of these things. What they're saying is after iterations and iterations of the tele into the machine and new programming, years of new programming.
Yeah.
Eventually it should be able to do this on its own.
Yeah.
And I mean just the one thing, that's dishes.
Yeah.
We got dishes down 2 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's I don't think that's not what teleoperating should be for. I like the teleoperating for the idea of plumbing.
Yeah.
If you have a robot and you need to teach it plumbing, it's all right, then teleoperate into it, do a bunch of plumbing.
Oh, that would be a really good idea.
With it, and then it's now it knows generally all the different positions it needs to get in to do plumbing.
Yeah.
And it's then after it's 2 years of plumbing, it's then sell it as a robot that knows how to do plumbing.
Yeah.
Not just sell it 2 years beforehand and we'll teleoperate into it and just do the plumb. I don't like that deception. Which I think stuff like this is because if you looked at her stride, the way that this robot was walking,
it definitely looks like a human.
That is a female stride.
It is 100%.
And
it absolutely is.
It's supposed to look that. So in my opinion, that's being teleoperated.
There's a very solid chance that that's either being teleoperated or it's just a chick in a suit.
Yeah.
It's just walking like a robot a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think they've done that before. And we can't really tell.
And I hate to say it.
Yeah.
I don't know where that one's from. I'm going to assume it's China.
I think it's China, yeah.
But, when you go to, their zoos and, there's a lion and it's actually a dog in a, with a wig. It's okay.
We could get into this a little bit. This is an interesting article in itself. Basically, the U.S. is betting $500 billion on AI infrastructure if only one company stays dominant. It's not about benchmarks anymore. It's about who controls the infrastructure that makes AI work. And the U.S. It basically is, Trump announced Stargate at $500 billion in infrastructure over 4 years. But this is basically all depending on NVIDIA GPUs. And all of the infrastructure is based around these NVIDIA GPUs and if they can perform. And so that's pretty interesting. And I thought that we made a special deal with NVIDIA so that only we would get this type of advanced technology. But it turns out Microsoft to ship 60,000 NVIDIA AI chips to UAE under US approved deal. Microsoft said Monday it'll be shipping NVIDIA's most advanced artificial intelligence chips to the United Arab Emirates as part of a deal approved by the U.S. Commerce Department. Almost reminds you of that deal where Qatar gave Trump that $100 million jet or whatever. Yeah. The Redmond, Washington software giant said license is approved in September under stringent safeguards enable it to ship more than 60,000 NVIDIA chips, including the California chipmaker's advanced GB300 Grace Blackwell chips for use in data centers in the Middle Eastern country. The agreement appeared to contradict President Donald Trump's remarks on 60 Minutes interview aired Sunday that such chips would not be exported outside the U.S. Asked by CBS News Norah O'Donnell if he'd be allowed NVIDIA to sell its most advanced chips to China, Trump said he wouldn't. We will let them deal with NVIDIA, but not in terms of the most advanced. The most advanced, we will not let anybody have them other than the United States. The UAE's ability to access the chips is tied to its pledge to invest $1.4 trillion in U.S. energy and related AI products. An outsized sum, given its annual GPTs, is roughly $540 billion. The UAE ambassador to the U.S., Youssef Al-Otaiba, said in a statement earlier this year that the arrangement was setting a new gold standard for securing AI models, chips, and data access. Microsoft announcements Monday was part of the company's planned $15.2 billion investment in technology in the UAE, which it says has some of the highest per capita usage of AI. Microsoft had already accumulated in the UAE more than 21,000 of NVIDIA's graphics processor chips and GPUs through licenses approved under then President Joe Biden. We're using these GPUs to provide access to advanced AI models from OpenAI, Anthropic, open source providers, and Microsoft itself. So we got that kind of deal going on to a Middle Eastern country.
Yeah.
And then we have EA being sold to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And what did EA do with their newest anti-cheat measures?
Yeah, it's kernel level.
They installed software that gives them kernel level access to your Microsoft Windows computer, which was causing multiple computers to just crash and brick and shit when they first released it, because you're not supposed to do that kind of shit. It's not meant for that. That's not meant for that. But no, we're just going to give all these AI chips to the Middle East, make sure a huge chunk of the younger generation has kernel level access to unknowns over there.
Yeah.
And then we'll just activate Skynet and see what happens. We're just going to see what happens, guys.
Yeah.
That's did I plot that movie plot out correctly?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to just follow the Terminator, you can, but that works too. You know,
that's how it happens.
Yeah. Like, you know, it's I do not understand. Like, here's the thing. I've been to the UAE, I've been to Dubai. By the way, like, it's an incredibly rich country.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to even describe.
They're all monarchy dictatorships.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's no democracy happening over there.
No, and by the way, like, I still remember I was sitting, in my hotel room with a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
And we were just looking over the balcony, to the ground floor, outside, what was happening. And, some person was like riding a bike there that shouldn't have been riding a bike there. And the police just descended, and just beat the crap out of this guy. Like, it was just like, wow. Like, okay, so that's happening here. So, like, basically, when you're over there, you don't break their laws. That's the general gist of it. But back to how rich they are, I did not see a car under a couple years old. And I believe it's actually a law over there.
Wow.
That they're not allowed to be, like, old cars.
Yeah.
They have the biggest mall in the world. They have the biggest building in the world. It's incredible.
Yeah.
However, we don't know what they do
Yeah.
with their own dealings. And the fact that they have these chips that they really shouldn't have, in a way.
They're like some of those powerful technology in the world.
Yeah.
And we're just like, here you go, monarchical dictator.
Because here's the thing. I am not against certain things. Like, when you have the top of the line jet.
Yeah.
Like military jet. I believe that the U.S. should have it. However, I don't believe anyone else should have it.
Yeah.
However, when the next jet comes along, maybe that jet could go to certain places.
Yeah.
That it didn't go to before.
Mm.
But the UAE, I wouldn't say is one of those places. I think there were other people that should have been higher on the list that have shown themselves to be better allies.
Yeah.
That could have been on the list. Japan, for instance.
Yeah.
By the way, Japan is just tied to us. Like,
yes.
Like, there isn't a reason not to, support them, because it's like, if they do bad, if something happens with them, we have to support them. They know it. It's just, I think this is a mistake.
So I'll just add this in here at the end here. This is my mom's theory, and you know how my mom is.
Yeah.
My mom's theory is that he's doing all this stuff in the Middle East, like getting all these deals with Qatar and this and so on and so forth, because when the shit hits the fan, he's going to try to flee the country and go over there. And his whole his whole family is just going to be exiled and live over there for the rest, because I think these Epstein files, eventually the government has to open again, and the Epstein files have to be released, and this Charlie Kirk foreign influence thing is not going away. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And not only that, but the brutality of denying SNAP benefits, even though we do have the contingency funds for them, it seems like a controlled demolition. It seems like they are intentionally trying to incite the Insurrection Act and basically get the shit to hit the fan on purpose. And Trump's backup plan is to flee to the Middle East, to one of those countries.
I mean, that could be. One of the things that bothers me about these deals, and it was in here, is the UAE's ability, to basically they pledged $1.4 trillion.
Yeah.
In U.S. energy and AI related projects.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is no small amount of money, for sure. However, I don't like the fact that it's a set amount either. And what I mean by that is, to me, this kind of looks like another one of those, after my presidency, that will be over.
Yeah.
And now whatever was there is now looking worse for the next person in line.
Yeah.
And, because a lot of these deals, granted, deals don't have to be forever.
Yeah.
But a lot of these deals just don't seem to ever be taking into account, like, okay, what about the future of the people of the United States?
Yeah.
Not just the future of a company, not just how to prop up something for right now.
Yeah.
It's just always like, how about this, deal for an amount of money that's going to make the next guy, or, that's going to kick it down the road for later. And
it feels like, and Trump has kind of stated this in his past, like, if you have an advantage in business, you have to take it, even if it's kind of under the table, something along those lines. And it feels like that is how he is running the country now. He is trying to cut all of this crazy shit, like actually useful stuff, not stuff that was like, oh, government corruption and, all of these actually useless things. No, he's trying to cut weird, devastating stuff that would benefit the wealthiest people exponentially.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes. I mean, I'm seeing more of that as his presidency goes on for right now.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't like the fact that these deals are just for the moment.
Yeah, for the moment. It's just, how do we get to the next 3 months, the next quarter?
Yeah.
How do we get to the next quarter? How do we squeeze that fucking lemon out to the next quarter?
Because what I would like to see in a deal like that is more promises for, like, we're going to open up manufacturing in the United States, and guarantee X amount of jobs in that field.
Yes.
Like that. Okay. That's a great deal. Like, it could even be less than 1.4 trillion. It's like, that's a deal worth, taking.
Yeah.
Stuff that looks at our future and says, what's going to benefit us in the long run. However, like I just said, none of that seems to be the case.
No, it seems like we are definitely headed for some tough times coming up economically. But I just want to add in this one last thing here. We'll just leave it on this note. So these LinkedIn recruiters are just batshit insane at this point. And I feel like this was the best one that I found. So it says 74 likes on it. The best interview question I've ever encountered is Airbnb co-founder and CEO Brian Chesky's. If you had 1 year left to live, would you still take this job? It's pretty blunt. but I love it because it gets right to the heart of people's motivations. If their answer is yes, they're telling you they won't quit when the job or life inevitably gets hard. They're motivated by true passion for the mission, because why else would a person with a year left to live work at all? With that kind of inner fire, they'll have the fortitude to weather storms and excel. Our goal is to hire people who care deeply about improving the lives of students and teachers, so much so that they'd give their precious final year to that cause. That's the passion we seek, the kind that keeps students learning, teachers supported, and districts moving forward. Wow. Yeah. Billy, what kind of job would you take if you had terminal cancer?
Yeah, I'm not taking a job. Yeah, I'm absolutely no. I'm going to take as much of that time off as I am able.
It's so inspiring and motivating, but this is where the job market's going.
And like, I think I'm hoping.
Yeah,
that was just him being entirely tone deaf.
God, or just a massive troll.
Yeah, I don't think it's troll.
No, I don't think it's a troll. I think that dude was serious.
Yeah, because I think I am hoping that he didn't realize, like I said, that the tone of it, where it's just like, would you give your all for this corporation? No. Like, because if you turn, like, here's the thing, you know who you should give your all for?
Yeah,
someone who gives their all for you as well.
Exactly.
And I could ask you, right? Do you think there's any corporation out there that would even give 10%?
No.
Yeah,
not now.
Yeah,
not now.
Yeah,
maybe in like the 50s or the 60s, where like you work at a company for like 30 or 40 years, and they're like,
"Here's a car."
Yeah, it's genuinely beneficial. But there's nothing like that now. That doesn't exist.
No, and one of the craziest things, I have people under me.
Yeah,
where I work, that have worked for that company for 40 years.
Yeah.
They have not gone up a single position. Like, their number has stayed the same.
Yeah.
They're no higher than they were when they came in.
Oh, man.
Their pay is pretty stagnant.
Yeah.
And when they leave from 40 years of service, they get nothing. There's no even, like, they get...
Oh.
The last person that left with that got a pen.
Wow.
Yeah. A company pen that had their name on it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they want slaves, Billy.
Yeah.
They want slaves, and they are going to build the robots that they think are going to be their slaves.
Yeah.
But I think we'll call it there for now. See you next time, guys.